All right. Well, it's time to take a look at some more MCU rumors for Phase 5. I'm there. That's right. So, this one is a big one coming up, and if done right, could go a long way in restoring the MCU to its former glory. There's been some stumps and bumps. It's in terrible shape, Lefty. It just is. Just because people are not receptive to change. Well, anyway, the big movie is Fantastic Four. Now, look, they've had other Fantastic Four movies. Yeah, they did. They had, well, there's the Roger Corman one, but that's a long story. And oddly enough, a lot about it is probably the most accurate. But it's silly. Yeah, they didn't have any money. They slapped it out very quickly just to maintain the rights they had at the time. And stuff like, I mean, there's a more complicated story behind it, but it's one of these movies shot for reasons other than doing a movie. So, well, that's how those things go. That's just kind of sad. Well, yeah. Then later on, Fox, of course, produced their at least two films. So they had one, and that was Chris Evans was in that one as Johnny Storm. Was he? Yeah. That was a young Chris Evans. Wow, that means he's played two superheroes. Yep, yeah, he did. And Michael Chiklis was Ben Grimm. That's the guy who turns into the rocks and stuff. Yeah. And then Jessica Alba played Sue Storm. That's just because you all wanted to see her take her clothes off. Well, she turned invisible, so you really didn't see a whole lot. Oh, that's right, yeah. And then the guy playing Reed Richards, I don't remember who he was. But, the movies were kind of silly and stupid. But in some aspects, they worked out. The big letdown was how they dealt with Doctor Doom. And that's too bad. And then the second one, they had Silver Surfer in it, and it was kind of cool. But they changed Galactus into a cloud. What's he supposed to be? He's supposed to be a really giant guy who eats planets. What? Well, not literally. He drains the life force out of the planets. But they decided to make it this cloud entity that does it. And the Silver Surfer works for Galactus, searching out planets that possess the necessary life force and energy for him to feed upon. Oh, my God. Well, anyway, that's how that ended. Yeah, that's how it did. And then so it lay dormant for a while, and then they did a new version where they race swapped Johnny with Michael B. Jordan. He's fantastic. He's a good actor, but he's not Johnny Storm. Oh, my God. This again. So anyway, well, I mean, if they're going to do that, they should have had Sue be black as well. Well, yeah. She wasn't? No. She was. Well, then how did they? Well, they just said she was adopted. Oh, okay. Yeah, which really changes the story even more so. Unnecessarily so. So it would have been easier to, well, if you're going to do that, then they're both black because they're actual blood relatives and everything. Well, it's a multiverse. Yeah, multiverse. So anyway, the movie had some interesting aspects to it, especially with Reed Richards' abilities, but it was pure crap. And there was all kind of problems with the director having a mental breakdown. That was Josh Trank. He had done a found footage movie about superheroes. I think that was an MTV film. They were getting into producing movies and stuff like that. Because in this one was, they were all teenagers filming themselves when they encounter this alien artifact that gives them superpowers and stuff like that. And Michael B. Jordan was in that one too. And so, he was the hot new thing. And so they quickly signed him up to do this movie. It fizzled. He was signed to do a Star Wars movie, but they realized he was really mentally unbalanced, all kinds of problems. And the latest film, or the last one he did, was one about Al Capone's decline into insanity due to his syphilis. Oh, my God. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't bother to watch it. Some people say it was pretty good. Others like, well. So he was a flash in the pan type guy, and they kind of wasted time on him. But the idea of approaching Fantastic Four as a science fiction film was not bad because that's basically, it is a science fiction story. but nobody's ever really hit it as to what they are. I guess really the Incredibles, the first one, it gets pretty close to the idea of this superhero family. But anyway, so as hopes were with Spider-Man coming into the MCU, which was amazing, I disagree. What? It just wasn't Spider-Man. Yeah, he's in the suit and he has webs and he sticks to things. Yeah, he did. But they finally got it right in the latest Spider-Man, No Way Home. Oh, that was so incredible. What a magical yeah. And so I guess there's hope for Peter Parker yet. Hopefully they don't stumble with this one if they get it right. Like I said, I think it does have potential to right a lot of troubles that the MCU has. But of course, everything's in delay because right now there's a writer's strike and all that. Yeah, well, you got to make a stand. Yeah, but so it's really a really god awful time to do it. And despite all the damage done, I just don't know what. They just have to wait it out. But also, I keep reminding that a lot of these rumors may have been true at one point. They're really old as we go through these. But with the stalling, they're probably stuck with whatever plot points they were pursuing initially. So some of them might have been true and they change them as they go. But in this case, with a writer's strike, you're not allowed to, do changes to a script or what have you. I don't even know if they can do like a brief outline. I mean, they could and just sort of, finagle around the rules. That's not fair. They better not. Well, they'll probably get some AI program to write it. Oh my God. No. Well, that's where we are. So finally the rumors. Yeah, you've been babbling on forever. Yeah, well, the rumors, because there's not a whole lot here. But this is something I've heard before. The Fantastic Four come from the 1960s and return to Earth 616, which I don't think it works, but anyway, the MCU, after decades exploring the multiverse. Oh my God, they were back in the 60s, and that's when the comic books. Yeah, that's right. So I guess for the period piece, they'll utilize a lot of that and keeping in tone with that. But also, I had heard other pitches on this idea that they were originally from the distant past, and that that Reed knew Hank Pym in his younger days and that sort of thing. Probably even knew Howard Stark and that sort of thing. So they could do that sort of and kind of gel it with their characters. They're not the Fantastic Four yet, but it establishes them retroactively. And if they do it right, it'll be fine. It won't be, shoehorned in like Captain Marvel was. No, that's not what happened. Yes, it is. It's exactly what happened. There's no arguing that. Well, I'm arguing it. Well, anyway, and so the idea at the time was that they were taking from the Ultimate Universe version in the comics, where the Fantastic Four, instead of stealing a spaceship and going in and getting bombarded by cosmic rays, they explore the negative zone. Oh my God, except they called it the end zone. Oh, that's problematic. Well, yeah. And they when they come back out of it, they have all these powers. That's what the Josh Trank movie did. So they were borrowing from that. So now they'll probably take a different approach with it. And since they're doing all this multiverse, and that's one of the drags on this is by the time you get to the Fantastic Four movie, even now, people are sick to the death of hearing about multiverse. So I don't know, but perhaps by the time the movie gets here, they will have already been introduced in some of the other films. Maybe at one point I thought maybe that's what Quantumania would do, but that didn't happen. So Reed and Sue are already married, and they have Franklin and Valeria, their two kids. And Doctor Doom will appear in a supporting role, but won't be the main villain. Remember when you thought Doctor Doom would be in Wakanda forever? Yeah. Well, that didn't happen. Yeah, there was some concept art, and maybe that was something they did think about doing, but they didn't go with it. And the idea of him being a character that was manipulating things and whatnot. I don't know. They probably should have gone for it, but still, without the Fantastic Four established already, I don't know what they're going to do with that. The rights over Submariner are not quite there, which is why they did so many changes. They did it for representation, and that's virtuous. They did it because they don't control it, and they used the idea that it's virtuous of representation to give them cover over it. So yeah, that you just gotta spoil everything. King will have a pivotal role. Oh well, that's Is he gonna be there? I guess if they recast him, yeah. But even he might not be the main villain. Well, good lord, there's no Doctor Doom and King are there, but they're not gonna be the villains. No. Galactus and the Silver Surfer rumored to appear. Oh my God, are they the villains? I doubt it. What? It might be the Mole Man, who was one of their first villains. And that might be the deal. Establishing Doctor Doom makes sense they would save him for probably the second movie where they have a confrontation with him, because he's the main nemesis of the Fantastic Four, and of course Reed Richards and all that. So that's kind of sounds like the plan of what that would be. Mole Man lives underground with the mole people. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, but he's not really originally one of them. They just worship him because they think he's brilliant and stuff. But anyway, it's a long-winded story. So they'll probably do that, but that's also taking from the Ultimates and the original story too. But I mean, the Ultimates had that meshed in with their origin story and whatnot. But this idea that they're out of time and stuff, that's that's gonna really stretch the original templates of it all. So, but there's narrative possibilities there that they could make work. But if they're able to capture the cohesive nature of the team, and also the tragic circumstances of Reed having to live with the burden and blame of what happens to Ben Grimm becoming the Thing, there's a lot of material there you can make use of. But the main thing will be worrying about how many check boxes they can get from the cast and what gender swaps and race swaps they'll do, stuff like that. At the moment, Adam Driver apparently is rumored to take the Reed Richards role. I don't know, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's gonna be fun, and I have trusted faith in their abilities. And, there's a lot of the representation. You throw it away because, you're an old fart. But there's a lot of value there. And other people can say, now it's my turn to see myself as one of the Fantastic Four. Well, anyway, so a lot of this being delayed, we'll see how they do it. But again, with the delay, they might be locked in this premise. And to constantly hear this version of it being period piece and whatnot, stuff like that, or at least initially, and then they come to the modern times after being stuck this time somewhere out there in the multiverse. And as a result of it, they get powers. Yeah, that can work, I suppose. It's just when they come back, whatever property they had and stuff is decades long ago and wouldn't be there. So... But, Reed's a smart guy. They'll figure it out. So anyway, that's what's the deal for Fantastic Four. And again, if they can nail it, this could be a solid film that could go a long way and giving some positive stability for the MCU, provided it's still around by the time they get to this movie. Don't worry. It'll be there. It'll be there.